So now let's talk about making MiniTeam assignments and mapping PAs to BUs and SGs, which we can do starting at the control panel and this button labeled Make MiniTeam Assignments and Map PAs to BUs and SGs. It takes us to the MiniTeam Management panel. As we've said, it's in these buff-colored areas where we can enter the data that will 1. Establish the names of the mini-teams or the names of the people involved in the mini-teams, and 2. Down here, assign the mini-team to a particular PA and the project/basic units or support groups that will be reviewed to support our assessment of performance in that PA. So let's name the mini-teams or enter the names of the mini-teams. I'm just going to call them MiniTeam 01, 02, and let's have 6 mini-teams. And now we'll enter the PAs that we're going to review, which mini-team by mini-team number will review that PA, and which projects will be reviewed in support of that PA. Let me just do that quickly. Notice how the PA list over here, just as we saw in the sequencer, indicates the PAs that are still available to be added to our PA mapping form. Note also over here that we map our PAs to BUs and SGs by inputting the number 1 at the appropriate intersection of the PA and the BU or the SG. So our mapping work so far has left us with some alerts displayed here, here, and here, as well as in the summary status window here. We'll discuss those in just a moment. But before we do that, let's discuss what our mapping matrix says. Here we can see that MiniTeam 1 is assigned to look at OPD, OPF, and OT, and we'll be reviewing the SEPG products in support of that. MiniTeam 4 will look at CM, and we'll be looking at all projects, A, B, and C, to ensure coverage. And MiniTeam 3 will assess PPQA as well as all 3 of the projects. Now let's go back and talk about the status alerts. There are 4 main status alerts that are highlighted in this summary status window up here on the right. 1. Not all PAs have been assigned to teams. 2. Not all PAs are related to BUs or SGs. 3. Not all teams have PA assignments. And 4. Not all BUs or SGs are covered. Let's resolve these from top down, though no particular sequence is necessary. First, not all PAs have been assigned to teams. We can readily see that DAR down here has not been assigned to a mini-team. Let's have MiniTeam 6 look at DAR. And note that the alerts have been resolved. Now, not all PAs are related to BUs or SGs. We can see over here on the right, in this column labeled Total BUs or SGs per PA, that PMC has 0 BUs or SGs assigned. Let's resolve this alert by assigning projects A, B, and C to PMC. Note that the alert is no longer listed in the status window. Next, not all teams have PA assignments. We can see clearly in the MiniTeam naming form that it's MiniTeam 2 that hasn't been assigned any work. Let's have MiniTeam 2 assess PPQA and MA. Finally, Not all BUs or SGs are covered. We can see down here that the total PAs per BU or SG for CM is 0. So let's have MiniTeam 4 assess the CM group. And so we've resolved all the alerts. Other alerts include a duplicates alert for duplicate PAs, or an attempt to enter an out-of-scope PA, or an improperly formed PA mnemonic code, that is to say, a misspelled PA abbreviation. Now, the MiniTeam Management tab also intends to assist the lead appraiser to even out the workload for the mini-teams, considering the number of PAs assigned to a mini-team, the number of practices that are associated with those PAs, and the number of BUs and SGs that will be reviewed for those PAs. That produces a sum total expression of the workload and a relative workload value, again to help the lead appraiser even out the workload among the teams. Granted, there is a blithe assumption here that the work to assess all the practices is relatively equivalent and takes no consideration for ATM experience, so the lead appraiser's own experience in forming mini-teams and allocating workload remains an essential factor. When we entered the PAs and the projects that we were going to be reviewing in the sequencer, that information was pre-populated in the MiniTeam Management tab, including both the projects and the PAs and whether the PAs were in or out of scope. Although over here on the left, the PAs are pre-populated in the order established in the sequencer, you'll recall that the PA list was not pre-populated here in the PA mapping matrix when we started. For purposes of assigning responsibilities and workload, individual lead appraisers may be more comfortable lumping together the PAs whose assessment requires much the same skill set or that reflect the skills mix available in a particular mini-team. In that case, the lead appraiser might prefer to list the PAs in more of a mini-team number sequence, for example. An even more compelling reason to me why the PA list in the mapping matrix should not be dynamic or driven by the sequencer is that if the order of the PAs were to be changed in the sequencer, then our mapping of PAs to mini-teams, BUs, and SGs would get out of sync, and that rework would likely be frustrating. At any rate, we don't pre-populate the mapping matrix with the PAs. And, as an exception to the DLOCLeAPS usage of ordering data according to the sequencer, we also use the order set in the mapping matrix when we produce the CMMI scope charts, those matrices of PAs to BUs and SGs for the appraisal plan and appraisal briefings, since that sequence helps tell the story of the mini-team assignments. So now that we've entered the mini-team management information, the PA tabs are populated with the BUs and SGs that are applicable to them. For example, we should see that PMC reflects only the projects A, B, and C. CM reflects projects A, B, and C as well as the support group CM. And either OPD, OPF, or OT will reflect SEPG only. So let's check. PMC reflects projects A, B, and C only. CM shows projects A, B, and C, as well as the support group CM. And OT reflects SEPG only. The Reference tab also summarizes our PA mapping in these two views.